It was football quarter-final week. No quarter asked, no quarter given. Hung, drawn and quartered, and that was just the first one.
Once again, I find myself with my friends. Dance till the night away, it's like the party never ends.
57 years since their last Leinster title and still waiting.
They're going to keep Laois waiting in the sun as they did with Kerry in last year's All-Ireland final too.
The referee has now gone in.
Yes, let's have a look at what does happen for the second half.
Donegal narrowly failed to spring a big surprise while Kevin Walsh did the captain thing for Galway. Second chances this weekend.
The lead, it's played inside. Christy Toy is there. That's a let-off big time for Galway. Kevin Walsh is back inside. Walsh wanted the ball, he called for it. He's been met by Brendan Boyle. Walsh sends it on its way, it looks very good, it's over!
Roscommon's second half goal rush rescues a modest beating from the jaw. No laughing at the back for Kerry.
It's kicked in by Carol Mannion. Bit of shooting practice for Frankie Dolan. Would he go and test the keeper? He's linking up with Gary Cox. Cox going for a goal, he's got it! Deneen against Moynihan, who looks like he's in trouble. And it's held up here for Frankie Dolan. How he'd love to score a goal, it has! A goal!
Wexford's Dave Guiney went up a hill with one championship start against Westmeath to his name. 8 years later, he comes down a mountain as first-choice cornerback in an All-Ireland semi-final. He charts his unlikely journey.
Our league campaign started reasonably okay. We went to Derry, got a 4-point win. Went down to Nina in Tipperary and got an unmerciful hiding from Tipperary. So the players had to sit down, had a talk, and we managed to pick it up a little bit for the latter stages of the league. And I suppose the big thing that set us up for the championship was the match against Kilkenny in Nolan Park. We drew with Kilkenny. Okay, we didn't win the match, but it was a moral victory for us. They were All-Ireland champions, so they set the standard. Now I know since then they gave us an awful hiding in the Leinster final, but it was a lesson for us, and I think we've learned from it. We picked it up against Waterford and had a good win against Waterford. That was a good Waterford team.
Dave Guiney, working relentlessly.
I've been a while on the squad. As my first proper championship start, so for me it was a special day to like Waterford were a good team and Wexford had to play very well. I think we used 19 players on the day and every player contributed to the victory. Antrim came at us with all guns blazing and we managed to scrape by with a victory, so we're still there. We're living on the scraps really, but still we're looking forward to the next challenge.
Wexford are back in business.
I sat down with John at the start of the season and we had a talk, and I told him that I wanted to know where he was coming from as regards bringing me in this year, that I'd done all the hard work with Wexford over the years. I'd done the sub and I'd done the panellist member, and he said to me that I would have a role to play, and at times I doubted him. Now in fairness I did. I've played beside him. He's a tremendous guy. He's an all-star. He hurled during the Barron years in Wexford and hurled with his club until he was 41 years of age. He's a guy that has a vision and a passion for hurling, and that's what we need in there. We need a guy that's driven and motivated like that. He would have kind of encouraged me back into the squad when a lot of guys wouldn't have taken a chance on a 33-year-old. He's been very patient with me because I'm very injury prone. When I need a rest, he'd give me the rest that injuries can heal, and then he'd push me forward again. So we all have to move forward together, and that's the important thing, you know. It's not a them and us attitude. A lot of people would have the impression once you hit 30 on the GA scene you should retire, but a lot of guys like Larry O'Gorman and Liam Dunn, both of those are 36 and they've proved that wrong as well. So George O'Connor in '96, he was 37. All those guys contributed immensely to Wexford's success in those particular years. So we, as the older players involved in the squad, have something to pass on to the younger players, and that's important. And I think a lot of teams miss that sort of leadership, and it's important that we're there for that, irrespective of whether we take to the field on the day or not, you know.
The team of 68 can take a back seat. It's now about the men of 96. Wexford are the All-Ireland hurling champions.
It's special to win in All-Ireland, and it takes a supreme effort, and it takes teams a while to adapt to that sort of commitment and that sort of dedication. So that's why it doesn't happen that often with counties like Wexford or like Clare, because it's a special moment and it takes a special breed of men to bring it about, you know. I didn't play on the day, and but I felt I would have contributed in training before the event, and a lot of the time the overall attitude in the squad comes about through guys that put in a good effort and are disciplined and dedicated to the job. So we all had a hand in it, really, you know. Counties like Kilkenny, Cork and Tipperary, they have this constant conveyor belt of talent coming through. In Wexford we have that talent coming through, but probably not good enough to win All-Ireland minor and under-21 titles. But that's nothing to say that they won't be successful senior players. They need to stay disciplined at their sport and stay dedicated over a long period of time. And eventually, if they keep up in the bar, they will succeed at senior level, you know.
So it'll be Rod Guiney.
I have a twin brother, Rod, and he looks exactly like me, but he's probably a fancier hurler than I am, you know. People are actually calling him Dave for the first time in years, and he probably doesn't like it a whole lot, but he's still hurling away. He's hurling with Rathnure and still has an awful lot to contribute to hurling in Wexford, you know.
Green is under pressure from Dean. A goal!
It's going to be a great occasion. Wexford have it all to do. Cork look a fantastic team. Their half-back line are hurling out of their skins. They've forwards like with the calibre of Joe Dean, they've Alan Brown, they've terrific forwards. So Wexford will have it all to do on the day.
If you have faith in me.
A new world has opened up in Cork Prison. Breaking Ball unlocks the secrets of a rehabilitation scheme for inmates and broken hurls.
Our day starts at 8:30. I let out the prisoners for work. We would be in the workshop by at the very latest 9 o'clock. 12 o'clock then they break for lunch. They're collected again at approximately 2 o'clock. And back to work straight away until about 4:05, 4:10, and then they're back into the cells for the evening. In 1984, the hurley shop started in the prison. It was started up originally to band hurleys for a local factory by Officer Finbar Canty, who was an officer here. I took over in September 91. I did a course in hurley repair in Ballincollig Community School. It taught us all the aspects of the hurley repair, from A to Z of hurley repair, basically.
An average day starts at 9 in the morning, and we'd collect whatever hurleys would be at the gate for us, and we'd just bring them over, and we'd come here then, and we'd just strip off the old bandings off them. And if they're cracked, we'll glue them, and we'll put them together with clamps. Sprinkle a little sawdust on them, just to help the glue go off faster. And if there was pieces needed, we'd mark them out on planks of ash timber that we have, and we'd cut them out and dowel them together and let them set then for another 3 or 4 hours before we'd plane them down and take them into the sanding room then and round them off and make them look as if they were new coming in, you know.
The hurleys come in from clubs within the county. There's a lot of junior clubs, senior clubs, intermediate clubs, and then hurleys. We fix hurleys for the Cork minor team, the Cork under-15 team as well. At the moment now, there's hurleys starting to come from Limerick, Waterford and places like that, so the business is picking up. Originally it was slow taking off. We were, by word of mouth, the concept of the hurley repair workshop took off, and nowadays we haven't enough hours in the day or enough days in the week just to keep going. We're inundated with work at the moment.
There is different jobs around the prison, and you can opt to do whichever one you want. I myself started in another section before I came here, and I'm here now with 18 months, I suppose, and I just enjoy it. It is the only job here that I would want to do, you know.
When I came in first, I was out in the yard, and Mr. McCarthy came out to me and said to me, "Do you want to start in the hurley shop?" So I came over and that, and you know what I mean, I said, to get off the air from boarding. Believe me, after a while I got stuck into it, and now I enjoy it. I prefer the sanding, and that's the only job I'm interested in the hurley shop. I don't mind doing the rest, but the sanding is it, because my days go by, you know, the months go by, the years will go by, and I don't feel a day going. I have a month done here, can't believe how fast the time is going.
We kind of pick prisoners who have a good work ethic to start off with, so that they're very easily motivated. You don't have to motivate them. The harder it gets, or the more work we have to do, the more motivated they seem to be, like so. their day goes faster, their time seems to fly by them, they don't mind. I suppose it's the nearest thing to an 8 to 5 job that these boys are going to get, so it does help them in that point of view, I suppose. All right.
Satisfaction of fixing things mainly would be the main thing of the job, but in another way you're giving something back to the community as well. You know, you're helping youngsters with their broken hurleys if they couldn't afford a new one and stuff like that. So, you know, it just gives you a nice feeling for yourself, I suppose.
In the hurley shop, I suppose there's a close bond between the prisoners. I suppose if you see them out of the workshop, they tend to hang around together. They tend to share cells together. They're a close bunch. Like they're all from practically the same background, and they gel together very well. So I don't have to force them to work or whatever. They want to do it basically. So they do it for each other more than for me basically.
It's not really a course. It's enjoyment now. It was a job starting. It isn't anymore.
The music just came about. One day a fella brought over a banjo or a guitar and they just started playing, and it took off from there basically. That we could have a sing-song going by 10 o'clock some mornings. That would be a regular occurrence over there. We played for the Minister for Justice, for Sean Aylward, all these people had been played for over there. It's just part and parcel of the set-up there really, that they enjoy it, so they just do it.
The new generation of Cork and Wexford hurlers renew the rivalry that was at the heart of hurling's greatest decade. In the 1950s, the counties drew the two biggest crowds ever to attend hurling finals. Legend in the making.
From the commentator's box, it seemed that all Ireland was at Croke Park on Sunday, September the 5th, and no wonder, for this was hurling final day.
Well, 54 was a marvellous match. It was end-to-end for the whole game. There were 83,000 people at it. It was a record, and I think that record stood for a long time. Even though it was our third All-Ireland in a row, I think there was even more interest in this third one than there was in the other two, particularly because Ring was going for his 8th medal.
Christy Ring leading his men from the County Cork.
It was 1-9 to 1-6, which is fairly low scoring, but at the same time, it'll give you an idea how close and how tough it was. Wexford should have won it. They were all over us, and possibly the turning point in the game was John Clifford's goal.
Oh God, I'll never forget that goal. 10 minutes to go, when somebody said to Jim Barry, "What's wrong with Paddy Barry? He's doing nothing." And they switched Paddy Barry off me and brought over Johnny Clifford. And I didn't know where that man went. Barry was in my gun sights. I knew where he was. I could pick him up any time. I felt I could. Clifford went off wandering, and this ball broke. And I should have gone. I blame myself for it. It's a dreadful feeling if you know, I should have gone, and I hesitated. And our goalkeeper, Art Foley, who was very good, might have got it, and he didn't get it either. The result was, it would have been a draw had that been stopped.
Wexford had an awful lot of possession, but they couldn't kind of put it away. But they were leading when I was lucky enough to latch onto a ball and scored a goal, which they say won the match, but there you are. Other people had scored points as well, and it won the match probably all right. It turned the game, put us into the lead, and, you know, something I'll never forget. And I hope a lot of people haven't forgotten it either, thank God. We went to the Gresham Hotel after the game, and when we arrived in, the Wexford team were lined up on both sides of the fire, and they applauded Christy Ring in with the cup all the way into the dining room. A magnificent gesture, but they were a magnificent team, Wexford. They were particularly big, you know, the 6'2" and 6'3" and all that kind of business. And their natural style actually would be to field the ball. Now, our style down here was to hit the ball with the hurl in the air.
We introduced something to the game. I think we were responsible for it, really. That was putting your hand up, as everybody does nowadays, catching the ball before it gets down to the ground. And this was new to the Munster teams. And I remember the 56 All-Ireland against Cork. And not to talk about myself, but I caught 2 or 3 balls in the air. And Josie Harden, who played on me, didn't know what had happened. And Christy Ring came out behind the 2 of us looking for the breaking ball. And poor old Christy, he vented his venom on Josie Hart and myself, that isn't hurling. It shouldn't be allowed. That just isn't bloody hurling, you know. So I always felt very smug, you know, and cleared the ball up the field.
Dublin, Dublin, Dublin. All roads lead to Dublin. And for many, the journey started as far back as 10, 15, and perhaps even 20 years ago.
I missed out on the 56 final because I played against Limerick in a Thomond Fesh match and I broke my finger. But that was another tremendous game, and as I say, Wexford had the experience that year, which they didn't have in 54. And they took their chances much better. Nicky Rackard now was excellent that day. And probably the turning point, Ring got a great run through and he struck a great shot, but at 40 he made a marvellous save.
It was the most dramatic finish. It was the exact pattern of the 54 All-Ireland. We were in front, I think, and then Cork came at us, and it was a free in, and Christy Ring put a goal. Cork got level, and they went a point in front at the most awful stage of the game for us.
2 minutes to go.
Then things started to happen. And Seamus Ahern, a great little man, the smallest man in the team, he landed a few balls down, and I think Tom Ryan got one and handed it to my brother Nicky and put it in the net.
And there it is, the goal to settle the match.
In a matter of a minute and a half, the whole entire picture had changed, and we won by 4 points.
If I had to say, I would think that the hurling that time was far superior to now. There was much more direct hurling, more ground hurling, but that's not to say there are great players now. They are great matches as well.
We had what you call a natural fitness, because about 80% of us had physical work day by day. Now, along with that, we walked everywhere. The lads today, they go from 0 up to 100 in the training, and I think that's responsible for all these injuries to the thighs and the hamstrings, is it? I heard an old bike saying recently that we used to eat hamstrings, but they have them in their legs now.
I mean, this is a compliment to Cork. You'd love to beat them because, I mean, they're such a high-powered county, and they have such laurels. You know, they've won so much. If you beat Cork, you know, it's very meaningful.
A lot of people now are saying that Cork will have it easy, which is rubbish. Wexford will be tough and hard and fair, and it's a match. It's a match.
With the All-Ireland quarter-finals producing yet another draw, Breaking Ball recaps on this season's great levellers.
He judges it absolutely perfectly.
In their year of living dangerously, Tyrone started by catching Derry at the post.
1 point between the teams. 3 minutes to be added on as Peter Canavan kicks this gloriously over the bar. And the sides are level. 38 minutes played. How much time is added on? There's no more.
Mick Lawler gets Laois out of jail as Offaly nearly throw away the keys on Micko's Leinster title dream.
Hits it. It's curling over the crossbar. Is there a winner in Offaly? Is there another score in Laois? The referee blows the full-time whistle, and every genuine GA supporter, be it from Laois or Offaly, will say thank you very much. There's huge pressure on Peter Canavan now, but as we've seen so often, he is equal to it.
Peter Canavan rounds off the comeback of the summer for Tyrone in the Ulster final.
4 minutes of stoppage time are now up. This is Ryan McManaman going for glory. He's put it wide. And it's all over. The referee has called for the ball. It's unbelievable stuff.
Last week, with Galway facing an unexpected exit, Kevin Walsh points the escape route.
He's been met by Brendan Boyle. Walsh sends it on its way. It looks very good. It's over. Kevin Walsh, the captain, with his second point. We're level, and are we heading for another day out between Galway and Donegal? Now, John Gildea, the referee, has blown it up. He didn't even let Donegal have a meaningful shot on goal. What a sensational goal.
With just seconds on the clock, Frankie Dolan keeps Roscommon alive against Kildare.
Now Frankie Dolan, this really is it for Roscommon. They are a point behind. Frankie Dolan, has he got it? Yes, he has. We are heading for extra time. There is the full-time whistle.
20 years ago next month saw a landmark All-Ireland minor hurling final between Galway and Dublin featuring a young Niall Quinn. The idea of a reunion gained impetus from a worthy cause, helping the fund for Aoife McGrain, daughter of Dublin hurler Tomas, who suffers from a rare brain tumour.
Basically myself, Eamon Clancy, Paul Comfrey, who were involved in the Dublin team in '83, we were trying to organise some sort of a reunion. It gave us a great impetus with Aoife's problems to organise something between the Dublin and Galway teams and organise other individuals to come up and play the game with us in St Vincent's, and just started snowballing from there on in.
Shane Dalton here from St Vincent's, he rang, you know, and he asked would there be an interest in it from the Galway side of it, so that's how it really came about. I said I'm sure there would, so I just rang a few of the lads and they were delighted to accept the invitation, you know.
Joseph O'Connor go Sinean Lena Kayaga Slot go Stirham Guihe Taurula. Well to go Crean again Horan Drasnon, Coolin Ellen Nale.
Well, Aoife was diagnosed on April 24th with a rare brain tumour called the brainstem glioma. It's a tumour in the stem of her brain, which is inoperable, and it's the rarest tumour that a child can have. Basically, we were told when she was diagnosed that she only had basically a year to live. Other than that, they weren't offering any treatment here in Ireland. So we organised fundraising to get her to America and to hopefully get some treatment over there that might help her.
It's been 5 years since I've had a hurl in my hand, so it's good to be back out again. I played for Vincent's for about 5-6 years until I was about 18, and I joined Westlife in the middle of the championship. We won the quarter final, and that was the last game I ever played for the Vincent's minors. Tomas grew up around the corner from me, so we used to play hurling in the local park together. It's one of them things that you never expected to happen to anybody you know. You always read about things and hear about things like that, but it's only when it's someone close that you kind of it hits home and it can affect you, Especially I've got kids as well. I've got 2 children, and that really touched me anyway. And it's great to see so many people out today supporting Tomas, and it's a fantastic day, and it makes us all proud, I think.
It's brilliant, like from Brian McFadden, from dropping the mic to pick up a hurl, and from the same from Niall Quinn. Hopefully he can put on a good performance today and maybe throw a few balls out to myself, might get a few points, but we'll see how it goes in the match.
It's been brilliant here tonight because, quite honestly, I'd say since that last day, I would say 3/4 of the team I haven't seen since, and everybody is the same. So it's brilliant that we're here. Doing what we're doing okay for the charity is great, but also that we're meeting old friends, and even the Galway lads, there'd be huge respect there, even though we wouldn't have met up for a long time.
Shane Dalton rang me because I used to hurl against Shane with Dublin, and going back 20 years, guts of 20 years ago now. The minute everyone said who the girl was, Tomas, little one, everyone was wanting to get involved. There was another 7 or 8 wanting to come up from Wexford for it, But he didn't need. Shane said he didn't need any more. He had enough, and more than enough. She left us sitting in the dressing room for 20 minutes after the match starting, so we wouldn't get a game. Shane did, I
mean, people knock the GAA. They seem to be perennially knocked for different things, but when you see things like this and you see the spirit that it's created, and in a club like St Vincent's, it's wonderful. It's something very special. There's nothing like it in the world.
I think Brian McFadden is in with a shout now for the Dublin team this coming year. He scored 4, 5 or 4, 6 tonight. We'll be keeping an eye out for him down along the roads. And Quinn seemed to be getting his touch back as well.
Hurling is the bloodstream of my family. I think it's a bloodstream of every inter-county player. It's only when something like this happens you really feel the way players get rallied behind you. Every player throughout Ireland wants to help in some way they can, and I think that's the same if it was to happen to anybody's daughter, But for me, as playing for Dublin, we would be one of the stronger counties in hurling, and for players to acknowledge my daughter, and to support, it's just overwhelming, and just to them people, just from the bottom of my heart and my family's heart, and Lisa and her family, we're just, thanks very much, it's just unbelievable.
Next week